Well, Abby, Eddie, Emmy, I got to say, it's weird just you and I here in the studio without Marcy.
It is right. It is, right?
Yeah, but it's good. Boys' night. Woo woo.
Yeah, we got the house to ourselves.
Exactly. When the cat's away, the mice will play. I'm Corey Funk. That's Abby, Eddie, Emmy, and this is Manitoba. And today on the show, we're talking money. Money, because around now, it's almost Christmas time, and that means everyone's polishing off their credit cards, getting ready to spend. And the way we're spending money is changing, whether we like it or not. And often that actually comes down to tipping. We're being asked to tip a lot more, from the coffee to the mechanic to a fast food meal. It's all on the rise. And actually, as it turns out, CBC Marketplace has looked into tipping and how much of your tip actually makes it into the hands of the person you actually intend it for. So today on the show, that's what we're going to talk about. And it turns out Canadians are feeling that extra burn in their pocketbooks as tipping culture soars. And what was once something to recognize good service, tips can now feel more like a obligation and put you in a weird place, forcing you to kind of make a awkward decision. And Marketplace actually revealed that there's no guarantee that the tips you leave are going to the person they were actually intended for. And Marcy spoke with host Christine Birak about that.
So it does sort of feel like so many people are a little bit, frankly, ticked off about tipping lately, right? What's driving the frustration, do you think?
Yeah, so tipping culture has been shifting, and now it's colliding with an increased cost of living. So we're paying more for almost everything, and on top of that, we're being asked for more and higher tips, and the ask really isn't subtle. People are not often paying with cash anymore, so we're not talking about tip jars. Instead, we are staring at those tip prompts on pay terminals. Here's how Michael Masso put it. He studies the economy of food and tipping.
Now it's in your face. Do you want to tip? Do you want to tip 15, 20, 25? Do you want to fit? I've seen a minimum in some places of 20, 25, 30. So we're just being nudged to go higher.
Higher and higher.
And then there's this tip creep, which means more and more places are asking for tips, which makes us feel uncomfortable because tipping is a social norm.
What an interesting way to look at it now. So obviously know where we came from, tips for service, good or bad service. They're just a social norm now?
Yeah, it's something most people do, and it's not a social norm everywhere in the world, but here it is a voluntary but requested payment, and people feel real pressure to do it, and they feel judged if they don't. And now, with this technology, the tip prompts are everywhere. It's harder to predict. You never know when you're going to be asked or for how much.
I understand Marketplace went to 100 different businesses. What did you find out?
Yeah, so we did want to get a sense who is asking for tips these days, how much do they want, and we want to see who is getting that money. So out of 100 businesses, about 3/4 had tip prompts. Sit-down restaurants, we expected that, but prompts at several of those places started at 18%. I remember when the norm was more like 15%. We were also prompted for tips in some surprising places. We had a windshield wiper change and a tip prompt came up and the employee said, yeah, that catches people off guard, but we're offering a service as well. We also came across them online shopping, travel, jewelry, clothing sites, self-serve kiosks in food courts. So you don't even have to interact with a person to be asked for a tip. And many coffee shops and fast food places also prompting us for tips. Most of those ones started around 10%, but a few of them did hit as high as 30%.
Self-serve kiosks.
Self-serve.
I would tip if they would spit out the money back at me because I serve myself.
Maybe a compliment or something.
I don't know. Do the tips actually go, where they are passed on? Do they go to the workers standing in front of us still ever?
That's what we're always thinking. In our spot check, many workers told us they do get tips, or at least a portion of them, but some said no, they don't see any of those tips. We heard it mainly in fast food restaurants, including some big chains. Some workers say, as far as they know, the owner keeps that money. Here in Ontario, where we did the test, in several other provinces, employers are not legally allowed to keep tips, except in certain circumstances. But still, we found over 1,000 allegations of tip theft in those provinces. But where you are and the territories, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Nova Scotia, there are no rules. So much like Manitoba, Nova Scotia has very little protections. We spoke with Sydney Bloom. She's director of the Halifax Workers Action Centre.
In Nova Scotia, there is no guarantee that tips are actually going to workers because there are no legal protections on that money. So we are advocating for a ban on what we call tip theft, and this would involve an amendment to the Labor Standards Code, where tips would be classified as wages.
So we did reach out to the Nova Scotia government, Marcy, about what they are doing to protect workers. And they said, yeah, tips are not considered wages. They're voluntary payments, but we're keeping an eye on the situation. And in a lot of places, they said, we really expect employers just to do the right thing.
So in some provinces, tips legally don't have to go to workers, including ours, as you highlighted. But where there are laws, I understand they're not always being enforced either.
Yeah, we reached out to several provincial governments just to better understand why there were no or few protections, and we didn't get a lot of clear answers. Ontario did say it's upping enforcement and penalties for employers who break the law. But we got an interesting response from Alberta's economy minister. He said the province recognizes customers want to see the tips they leave go to the workers who earn them, but since they're not wages, they're not governed. But he said tip theft is unacceptable, and if a worker is given a tip and then the employer takes that tip from them, they can report that to the police. So it was a little bit of a strange response that we were getting, but there really is this expectation that employers will do the right thing.
What can customers do meantime to avoid feeling gouged and make sure, is there any way to make sure the tips go to workers?
You know what? The experts we spoke with say start asking questions. They often ask workers if they get their tips or not. And I did the same thing as part of our test. I must have gone into 50, 60 businesses alone and asked them, do you get your tips? And the answers could surprise you. And they also said, do your own math. At several places, we noticed we were being asked to tip on top of taxes, but we're just rushing through and just hitting the buttons. Restaurants Canada, which advocates for a lot of food service businesses, said, to put things in perspective, when customers started leaving bigger tips during the pandemic, some businesses opted to raise those tip options on their machines. But they do insist people can still choose what amount, if any, they want to tip, and it should reflect their customer experience. Now, that last part we really put to the test in tonight's show. We set up our own little shop, a marketplace shop selling holiday decor, and I asked people for tips to see if they would tip me for not doing anything, really. And given the reactions, you can start to see how customers will ultimately decide whether more businesses will push for tips. And the experts we spoke with say, the tipping process, it really needs to be more transparent for everyone involved.
Well, Christine, thank you for the report this morning. Our team will pull together some cash and we'll leave you a little tip in your...
Thank you kindly.
Take care. Thanks for your work.
Take care, Marcy.
Well, tipping might put you in a bit of an awkward place, but I know a lot of people are consciously making the decision today on Black Friday to go out and spend a whole bunch of money. Abby, are you planning to hit the mall?
I have to admit, I am not exactly a fan of Black Friday. There's just something about, the chaos, the madness around that one day of the year that doesn't really sit well with me. Though I can't deny I'm a sucker for good deal. However, I just feel it's not supposed to be meant for just one day of the year.
Fair enough. The idea of going to a crowded mall is making all my blood vessels constrict already. I'm feeling it. So I get that. But believe it or not, there are a lot of Canadians who are pretty excited to get out and shop today. And we're actually going to hear shortly from a marketing professor from the U of W who actually can tell us a little bit. He actually used to be a professional Black Friday shopper, and you'll hear about that. And he's going to give us some tips on how to make the most of Black Friday deals if you are hitting the mall this weekend. But first, though, Shanley Vidal went to the University of Manitoba to hear how some students there plan to spend their Black Friday.
Are either of you going to be doing any shopping, looking for deals?
I think we will be.
I think so too, yeah.
Yeah, we plan to go to Polo Park tomorrow.
What are you looking for?
I think it's mostly just me. I'm looking for some gifts for Christmas and also just some clothes maybe for myself.
So you're kind of like holding out for this weekend in particular.
A little bit, yeah.
What are you looking to get for gifts and things like that?
It's for him, so I don't want to say right now.
What about you? Are you looking for anything in particular?
Nothing in particular, no, but keeping my options open.
And what are your names?
I'm Connor Pagtian.
And your name?
Cassidy Vu.
My name is Russian Vanados. It's a no for this year.
Why not?
Nothing's really coming up, especially as like the season is like kind of concluding. Nothing's really like interesting me this year. Maybe I did all my shopping pretty early, so it's kind of like done.
You think maybe it's losing a bit of its luster?
So that's definitely what contributed to it. Plus, like most deals are probably after the holidays, right? So that's probably what I'm looking more towards.
Can I get your name?
My name is Miracle. Miracle, yeah.
And your last name?
Chimila Miracle.
Are you going to be participating? Are you going to be looking for any deals for Black Friday or Cyber Monday?
Yeah, for sure. Literally looking for buying some items, some furnitures, and all the rest. Yeah.
Oh, you're looking for furniture?
Yeah.
So have you been holding out in particular for Black Friday?
Yeah, I have indeed. Like last Black Friday, I actually got a phone and a lot of stuff and everything.
So are there other things you're looking to do, like Christmas presents?
Definitely a Christmas present, like for family, for friends, and everything. Basically, getting a lot of gifts and other items too.
Now, I'm wondering, with shopping, are you going to be going in person or are you going to be shopping online?
Basically, be going in person for me to see more items.
I'm Gage Cameron. Lots of people to buy for sure. It's always quite the task to go and find the right thing for everybody, family and friends. So, yeah, I'd say it's a great opportunity, and I'll keep an eye out for it for sure.
Now, are you going to be looking online or in person if you're doing some shopping?
I'd say a bit of both. I'd say it gets a little bit trickier with the, Canada Post being a little bit interrupted at the moment, but I still think there's lots of good opportunities online, and I'll probably take a look there as well, yeah.
My name's Ramo.
Your last name?
Said.
Are you going to be looking for any sales for this weekend?
Oh, I don't think I'll be going to any malls or any centers.
What about online?
Yeah, probably looking at a few shops that don't have sales all year round, so I'll just go online shopping for Black Friday.
Are you looking for anything in particular?
Maybe some winter clothes, because I'm new to Canada, so I'm looking to get winter clothes or anything that warms me up in the winter, because I heard it's really cold.
That was CBC community reporter Shanley Vidal speaking with students at the U of M about Black Friday shopping. Next, we're going to try to shed some light on the so-called deals that are promised every Black Friday. Lam Ann is an assistant professor of marketing at the University of Winnipeg. Hello.
Hello.
So, are you a Black Friday shopper yourself?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I have always been an avid Friday shopper. I spent 12 years living in the US myself, and actually used to own a business called Black Friday Shopping, where I watch out for deals and purchase stuff on Black Fridays and resell it when the prices are back to normal. That's actually what funded my undergrad education. So
really? Okay, yes. So probably from your perspective, Black Friday actually seems to actually be good deals.
Yes, usually there are a lot of other holidays or other sales occasions right now. Boxing Day has always been there. Have Cyber Monday. Then Amazon Prime Days actually occur twice a year now.
Okay.
But the history and most of the deals on Black Friday are still some of the best of the year. The companies and retailers know what consumers are expecting, and they usually give it to them. My advice to consumers, like some of the students that are looking for deals, is that do your own homework. There's a lot of tools online now so you can track price history, like Google Shopping or Camel. It's a funny name, but okay. You can compare between website, and you can see whether the price that you are seeing is actually the lowest. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of tools right now. So educate yourself, yeah.
So I know Black Friday's probably changed a lot since you were a professional Black Friday shopper.
Yes, that's right.
But, Black Friday, it's not really just a day anymore. It's essentially a week. So how does this extended period of sales impact customers? Is there like a day during Black Friday week that's best? How does that work?
Yeah, so I remember when I was 10, 15 years ago, you have to stand at 4 a.m., in front of the stores and wait for the blockbuster deals and get in the right time. And the guys who make the most profit from that is probably the guys selling hot chocolate in front of the store.
Right.
But yeah, now Black Friday is, as you mentioned, is online now. There's a lot of stores. It increases the competition for the stores because a lot of people, they don't have to be in a store in one place at one time anymore. They can look for deals from every stores. You can see that store now have price matching deals. Where if you buy an item from another store, you can match it with one store. So there's a lot more variety, a lot more opportunities for consumers.
Also, one thing that's changed is the opportunity to do Black Friday shopping online. But of course, the Canada, like we heard from one of the students earlier, the Canada Post strike might complicate that. What makes more sense, to go out there in person and physically shop for deals, or is online a better call?
It also depends on what you are purchasing, right? On things like shoes or clothing. A lot of time you know that it's better to go out, actually see it in person. For things, very standardized products like phones or iPad or laptops or gaming console, it's perfectly okay to buy it online, just because you know what to expect. And most of these stores use UPS or Populator anyway, so they don't use Canada Post. It's not really affected. Most stores also have extended return period, so it gives you a lot of chance. If you even make a mistake, you can actually come back until January to return your items.
Right. And I guess one thing we also heard from one of the students and those streeters there is that they're like maybe waiting for Boxing Day for better deals. Is Boxing Day a better deal than Black Friday?
It's very different. Again, it depends. So if you think about it, Black Friday is right before the holidays, where a lot of gift shopping happens. So one of the students actually mentioned that she's buying gift for her boyfriend. Research has shown that when you buy for someone others, you think very differently. Boxing Day usually is after the holiday. You start buying for yourself, which, I mean, if you ever buy baby stuff, you buy for your own baby, all right, wholesale diapers. But when you buy it for someone else, maybe, I want the cutest socks out there, even though the sock is used for like a week long. So.
Yeah, makes sense.
So it's very different mindset, different kind of products, different kind of sales.
Right. I actually want to read you a post. So it's from a local company, Big Sky Run Co. They sell running gear here in the city. And they actually say they're not going to be supporting Black Friday sales. And this is what their post said. So it says, Black Friday deals have already begun a week early, and Big Sky will not be offering any big blowout Black Friday deals this year or any year. It goes on to say, Black Friday takes over at this time of year, whether businesses are ready or even able to offer discounts. It puts a lot of pressure on small businesses, especially the businesses that benefit from Black Friday are Amazon, Best Buy, Walmart, and other big box stores. Absolutely not the small business you know and love, unquote. So what are your thoughts on that take from a local small business on Black Friday?
I agree and disagree at some point. First of all, it's true that Black Friday benefits a lot of the big box stores because they just have better negotiation power and better margin. So they don't necessarily have to take a loss to offer a sale compared to a small business. Small business also is not a one-stop shop where most people want to go and get everything at once. At the same time, boycotting it, I don't think is a wise strategy. How many times a year do customers actually read advertisement, follow promotions, and watch flyers? This is the only time of the year they do that. Usually they ignore those. So this is a great chance to grab their attention. And you don't have to offer monetary sales. There's two biggest problems from small business perspective. One is volume of purchase. Usually people purchase in very small volume. Second is awareness. They can offer things like, discount based on large volume of purchase for customers. Or they can offer things like discount, but you have to come to the store to pick up. Or you have to introduce another friend, like a reference things. In addition, non-monetary incentives such as free gift wrapping, or add-ons to orders can be non-expensive things to get your attention to customers. And I think small businesses should not waste these opportunities to advertise themselves.
Well, Professor, and thank you so much for joining us this morning, and all the best with your Black Friday shopping.
Oh, thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Gwen. I'm from Charleswood, and this is Manitoba.
Well, Abby, we did it. We actually seemed to behave ourselves somewhat with our Marcy.
We held the fort.
we held down the fort. Marcy will be back next week. But in the meantime, though, if you like what you're hearing, what should people do there, Abby?
Be sure to find us wherever you get your favorite podcast and on YouTube. And don't forget to follow and share with your friends.
Have a good weekend, everyone. Don't spend too much money.